Springs, welcome to another episode of Everyday Gospel. I'm pleased to have with us today Angela Goodey. So you guys all know her well and love Angela, and she's been doing some amazing things during this quarantine and has been such a valuable part of New Springs. I've always admired your heart and just so thoughtful in terms of what would make people feel good. I think you're such a great expression of what it means to love your neighbor and be kind to others. And so hopefully I learn a little bit of that from you. But just to kind of catch people up to speed, maybe not everybody knows what it is that you do. So what's your job and where are you guys located?
I am a preschool director at Da Vinci Preschool Academy here in Coral Springs. It's actually just a little south of Sample and east of Coral Springs Drive.
Okay. So did you guys have to shut down this whole quarantine time?
We did not. Broward County Child Care Licensing actually didn't require child care centers to close.
Okay.
A lot of centers chose to, one, because of the virus and the fear of spreading it, and many chose to because the lack of attendance, and it really didn't benefit their business to stay open with so few children. But we did not, and my boss chose not to for many reasons, mostly because our parents us.
Yeah. Okay. So you guys remained open, had kids coming in left and right, which I'm sure is a great service for people who still had to work. I mean, that's been such a difficult thing for a lot of people to figure out where, there's a stay-at-home order, but that doesn't mean that every profession is able to do that. And when you still have to go to work, you've got kids, what do you do with your kids? So what was that like, having all those kids throughout the quarantine?
It was really tough at first, and we didn't maintain our enrollment. I mean, prior to this, I had 120 children enrolled. Every classroom was full with a waiting list with the exception of one. And today we actually celebrated our highest number of 51
Wow.
since the middle of March.
Oh, wow.
So it did take a hit on us as far as attendance, and it was kind of hard at first because teachers were feeling like, is it okay to come to work? Do I have to go to work? And I had to make it comfortable for them that if they didn't want to, I didn't want them there either. Because if someone's afraid to come to work, the children can pick up on that.
Yeah.
So we needed that balance of, yes, we have to be here, but no, you don't have to be here.
Mm.
And I lost a few teachers, but most of them stayed, which also had its pros and cons, because then I'm trying to pay and employ 13 teachers when I have 35 children.
Yeah.
So, but the parents, like you said, we have our parents don't work.
Okay.
Our parents are, the new norm of essential employees. Anybody who could stay home, and almost everybody who worked from home took that option and kept their children home.
Yeah.
But you see how it is working from home, having a toddler running around.
Yeah.
Feasible for a long period of time.
Yeah.
So for parents who knew that we were open and they had that option, and the parents who knew we were open and they didn't have that option, our firefighters still have to go to work.
Yeah.
Our nurses, our doctors, our police officers, that's the children we've had.
Yeah.
And it was finding a balance of maintaining the safe environment that, yes, your child can be here and be safe and healthy, and yes, so can my teachers. And once we did that through the initial fear stage, everybody just kind of settled down and we're like, okay, we've got this. And that's been my motto. We've got this.
Yeah. That's such a good thing because, one of the promises that we can kind of bank on in the Bible is that God's going to take care of us and look after us. And a lot of the way he compares that to is the way that a parent nurtures a child and compares our faith to that. So I really think one of the ways that when God says, I'm going to take care of you, it's not like, magic dust floating through the air and then you're cared for. It's by raising up people like you who work at preschool centers and stay open during a quarantine and offer a service where essential workers like firefighters and police officers and doctors and nurses can still be able to have their children cared for and loved. And it's a way that God loves us through what you do. So, what are some of the fun things that you guys have been up to during this time?
Well, we still managed to have an Easter egg hunt, which was a big deal for us because that was something that was kind of weighing on me also, because you take donations, and with people financially being hit, I was like, is it okay to ask for donations? If people are scared to bring stuff from home, is it okay to ask people to bring stuff? And when I found the right way to ask, and I prayed about that honestly, because to me, a lot of this has been about prayer, because there are no right and wrong answers. I had some people who were upset that we were still open. And then I had people who were thankful and grateful that we were still open. I had people upset that they had to come to work. And then I had people who were like, okay, I don't want to come to work, but what does that mean for me? And I had to be the same boss to both people.
Yeah.
And so a lot of it was, I spent time in prayer, like, okay, teach me how to still be a director for these parents during this new normal, for these teachers during these changes, and for these children to try to keep it as normal as possible. So the egg hunt was something that I was like, I'm not so sure about. And let me tell you, when I did, parents ordered on Amazon and had it sent straight to the school, or bought Amazon and had it sent to me, not even open.
Wow.
And with the children that we had, they got to find like 15 to 20 eggs each. Typically, we have to limit them to 5 or 7.
Those kids loved that egg hunt. It's the best
They were
egg
going
ever.
home. Exactly. So we've done a pajama day. We've done a Disney day. So, just to keep it kind of fun and still have something happening for them.
I had no idea that you liked Disney.
Very much so.
Do you think you have more ears than my wife does?
I don't know. We'll have to see.
Yeah.
I add to it as soon as the store opens back up, though. That's for sure.
I know we're all waiting to get back in there for sure.
She's got me beat. She's got the Disney mask. I don't have a Disney mask.
You got to get one. Well, so what are I think that's a really good thing that you just shared about praying about the decisions that you have to make. I think that burden, especially for those in leadership, directors, bosses, presidents, CEOs, principals, whatever position that people are in where they have to make decisions for others during this coronavirus is difficult. And I think that's such an important aspect is prayer, because this isn't something that came out of left field, right? God knows exactly what's going on and why there's a pandemic and has a purpose for it, although we don't know what the purpose is. And so I think it's great that you shared that it's an important thing to you to lean on God for that wisdom. And so I guess my final question, as you've prayed, talked to God, thought through things, and experienced this coronavirus probably in a way that's different than others have, because you have all these kids that you're taking care of. What are some things that you're learning about your faith or learning about God in general through it all?
The biggest thing is I've seen, like, I keep saying to people, I don't know how somebody who doesn't have God is getting through this. Because to me, we know God's got this. And we know, like, I know that God's going to empower me to get through this. I knew in the beginning. And yes, I did have a couple breakdowns, here and there, because so much was happening at such different intervals and nobody had answers. And everybody was asking me questions that I had to stop and kind of go, okay, but I don't know what I would have done without my faith, because that's such a big part of my life and of my decision-making process, even before this, that it was natural transition just to go to God, to know that he's there for me. And that's just, been my thing, is that he's accessible to us. So what if who doesn't have faith dealing with? How are they dealing with this? And the fact that he taught those lessons before this was like he armed me and prepared me to say, okay, go to me, come to me. My arms are open. I'm here.
Yeah, that's so good. It's Matthew chapter 5, I'm thinking of, where Jesus tells this parable of two men, one who built his house on sand, and then the other who built his house on the rock. And a great storm comes and washes away the guy's house that's built on the sand because the foundation is weak. But the guy's house who's built on the rock, of course, it stands. And I think that that's pretty indicative of our situation now. Many people are getting through this and doing just fine, but there's a lot who aren't. And to have that extra spiritual ammunition of being in an actual personal relationship with the God who's in control over everything, that lays the foundation that we need. And I think it's such a great ethic to have, where, as teachers are coming in to your preschool, and as parents are dropping their kids off, to see this strength and resolve that you have, and to know that it comes from your faith in Jesus Christ. I think that's a powerful witness. And you teach, therefore you rock. And I think people, that's right. I think people see that in you. I appreciate you a lot, Angela. You're an amazing person, and I'm glad other people get to experience that.
Thank you.
What you do and the care you provide for those kids. Any other thoughts that you have before we wrap up?
Thank you. The other thing I was going to say is something I learned is more patience at home, because it was really tough for me to come home to a house full of people who had been home all day. And I walked, ooh, this and ooh, that. I'm like, wait, I'm exhausted. I just worked all day. I've got mental and physical stuff that you didn't even deal with. I need a few minutes.
Yeah.
And overwhelmed me at first also, that I ended up having to say, how do I deal with that? Because that's not fair to my family who's been home all day. So that was another thing that I, had prayed about and reached out to friends and family. And, God said, give yourself time. So I now have a few minutes to myself. When I come home, I take a shower and I take a few minutes to myself to get my school germs off.
Yeah.
It's actually just my me time.
Don't tell anyone.
Exactly. Before, everybody's coming at me and welcome and helping, glad to see me home, because it was something that was different from them. They had been out all day before, and we all came home together and had that unwinding time. Yeah. And then that family time. But it was so drastically different having them in the house all day with no other contact, on the computer, doing school, whatever. And then I come in, it's like, ooh, fresh space, let's go.
Yeah.
So that was definitely something I learned, was to have more patience, during that time, and take that few minutes to myself and then go, okay, now I'm here.
Yeah, I get that difficulty a lot. It's good that you're being able to navigate through it. Your family's understanding, you get a little me time, and then kind of enjoy it. I think that's something that we're all learning. What does family look like with this really different dynamic, when all of us are used to, waking up in the morning, doing our morning routine, and then everybody dispersing to their various responsibilities, and then coming back at night. And now it doesn't look like that for everybody. And I wonder how much that changes in the future as well. How can we pray for you?
Would be for my daughter. Okay. She's, school in Orlando. It's all online school now.
Okay.
Linda's had some really tough decisions to make, and as a mom, it's like I can't make them for her. Yeah. And I empowered her, hey, your answer's right either way, but you need to make your decision and I'll support you. Does she come home? If it's online learning, why isn't she home? She has a job up there. She's a nanny. They love her. She's working. She doesn't want to finish school online. We're hoping she goes back. So it's just helping her adjust to that and making her own decision, but knowing that I'm here as a mom and I'll talk her through it and support her either way. And then, just for the rest of us as we deal with this new normal, get my 13-year-old out of the house sometimes.
Yeah.
So that would be the prayer that I would welcome, to just, ask God to continue to, give me the wisdom in my job and in my home life, and to give my daughter that wisdom that she needs and to let her know that she's okay with what decisions she makes.
For sure. Okay, we'll definitely be praying for your daughter, for your son, and the impact for the whole family. Um,
Thank
Again, we love you, Angela. We're praying for you. Hopefully, we'll see each other soon. Things are
you. Yeah,
starting to point in that direction. I know we're not certain yet, but let's keep praying, keep hoping that God will clear things up so we can get back together again.
absolutely. I'm looking forward to that. It's been nice to have church in the homes, but it'll be nice to have church back in church also.
Amen. Amen. Well,
Thank
thanks
you.
for giving up your time, Angela. I really appreciate it.